I'm Julie Hornok with United in Autism, and I have Dr. Regina Crone with Therapy and Beyond, and we are here in Fort Worth, Texas. I got my cowboy boots on, and we're at Hyenas.
Yes.
We're about to start the Moms Mingle, and we are so excited, but as always, we like to get your expertise and bring something to the parents at home. So today we're going to do the when, the how, and the what of learning to use different communication besides speech. And I'm so excited because we have so many good tips for you. So let me just share with you my concern as a mom.
Yeah.
So my concern was I did not want to teach my daughter anything else, or I didn't want to do it too soon because I was scared she was not going to have any typical speech. Like, I wanted the words as a mom. So tell me kind of when is the best time.
Sure. So when we're looking at AAC, which is augmentative or alternative communication, you're looking at intervening with speech, right? So you feel like, okay, my child's not developing speech or hasn't developed speech, and that can look like your child is not pronouncing things correctly, like they're hard to hear. That can look like they are avoiding language or having problem behaviors because they can't communicate properly. And so when we're looking at that, we're looking at, okay, a child is not developing to the most mature form of communication, which is the verbal language, right? And a lot of people think, well, if I start to intervene, then they're not going to learn and develop speech vocally, which is the ultimate goal, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And so what we want to talk about is that really it's never too early to intervene, and what you're trying to avoid is language becoming frustrating, okay? Because remember, language isn't just about being vocal.
Right.
Yes. Language is about communication. And so really focusing on communication. Is my child communicating effectively and easily? And if that's not the case, then go ahead and start looking for an alternative.
Okay, so there's no time that's too young.
Right. Think about this. Babies, we hear about this all the time just on mainstream, is that babies learn sign language before they're verbally speaking.
Yes,
right?
You're so right, because that does not stop them from speaking. In fact, they think sometimes it moves it forward faster.
Yes.
And so what is that about sign language, though, that helps them speak, or why do typical parents even do that?
So when you start looking at, okay, now I know that I want to intervene, I want to start helping my child communicate more easily, you start looking at what your options are, right? And so we've heard of, oftentimes we hear AAC with devices.
Right.
But really we can also look at, before you go out and get a tablet or an iPad, you can look at what you have available, your hands. Okay, and so you can start this in your kitchen with your hands, teaching your child sign language. That is also an alternative way of communication. And again, what we're looking for is that communication that's easy. And so it's easy, just like little kids that you might, before they're vocal, like we just talked about, you might teach them a sign to communicate more readily and easily before they're able to verbally do that.
Okay, that makes sense. But I guess what I'm thinking is sign language seems old school to me. Like, sign language seems like back in the dark ages. Right now, what all of our kids love is the iPad. And so if I was doing this over, I would just start with an iPad. So is that okay? Is that the right thing to do? Like, how do we decide what to do first, what to...
So devices are great, and they're great resources, and really that should be introduced from an assessment, right? To find out if that is going to be someone's main communication device, most helpful in the world. But I would think about a few things. One is we want to communicate easily and readily.
Okay.
So if I want to drink a water, if I want something, or I need to go to the restroom, and my device is upstairs or in the car, how do I communicate? So having some signs built in your immediate community can be really, really essential.
Okay.
And so starting with sign language is very helpful. Also, think about how natural it is to talk with your hands.
I mean, all the time, right?
You use that for fluency.
Yeah.
So teaching a child to use signs to pair with their vocal language, number one, is natural, helps with fluency, and really your hands, when you're moving them, that is motor planning. And what is vocal language? Oral motor planning. And so all of those things can begin to work together to encourage vocal language.
So it sounds like it really is a precursor to vocal language, whereas an iPad is great, but is not a precursor because you're just touching the words, right?
Sure, so that's another great point. So when I'm using sign language, every single word has a different sign to it. So this is candy, this might be drink, this might be cracker, right? Whereas with a device, what's your response? It's always the same. It's selecting a picture or selecting a word, but the movement is always the same.
So there's not any additional planning going into it. Okay, I think that makes complete sense. And I mean, some of us have probably gone straight to the iPad, but what I think I hear you saying is that we can actually, even if we're already using the iPad, go ahead and add in sign language. Like, it's not too late to add it in so that if they don't have their device, or if they forget it, or I guess
it's just such a readily tool
Yeah.
that think is underused as a tool for communication, and it's amazing how I've seen behaviors drop readily, pretty quickly with using your hands to communicate because they're always available.
Yeah.
And then seeing speech develop, because once you start making that language less intrusive and difficult, sign can be very easy to kids, and so they can become very rewarding getting things quickly.
Okay, so let me just give you like worst case scenario where, okay, we have a kiddo that we have tried and tried to teach sign. They're frustrated, all the same sign, they're not getting it. So then what?
Well, I think looking at how you're teaching sign is an important one, so we can kind of role play that a little bit. And then of course I think an assessment is always important. So bring in professionals to look at those things. But there are kids that will pick this up easily and it's worth trying.
Right, okay, all right, well let's go ahead. You want to teach me?
Yes. So
I will be the child.
Okay, so this is really easy, moms and dads. You can do this in the kitchen. So here's candy, right? This is something she wants. Let's say she wants
I do,
this.
I always want candy.
So when I'm handing this to, and I know that they want this, right? Because she's been, reaching up on the shelf that that you're interested in this, and so I know that she wants the candy. And what I can do is just take her hand, form it like this, with my finger out, and go candy, and say the word, and then hand it to them immediately.
Okay.
Easy enough, right?
So then, how many times do you usually do it before someone gets it?
Yeah, you just do it, candy, deliver, and you can even a piece, like if it's a cookie, like a piece of the cookie, and then set it up again. And then if they want another cookie, then you just start fading away, and then see if they'll finish it.
Oh, finish. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that makes sense. And then you can also, when you're looking for this, make sure that you're also staying away from the sign more. Okay?
Because it's just, so we want
It's
to
the
do
same
one
sign,
word
yeah.
per
Because
sign.
what does more mean? More just means more, and more of what? So
Okay.
always go with specific signs versus that general sign of more.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a really good tip.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I think that's super helpful, and I think parents will want to go back to sign, just knowing that it's helping them form their communication. And then you told me you have seen words come after sign.
Yes.
And so just give me one example, because we like to hear a good story.
Well, this is exciting. So working with a kiddo, he learned sign. We see his behaviors drastically decrease, a little 4-year-old. And he was so excited about kind of this aha moment of learning sign language that as soon as he grasped this, we could just that light bulb off, and he literally walked around trying to make his own signs for things so he could ask.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so cute.
And then then he started developing vocal language because communication was valuable, successful, and now he became interested in getting things faster, which then he started approximating and then vocalizing and verbalizing. Something else with sign that's really great is that because our kids might be doing approximations we don't understand, right?
Yeah.
But we can understand the sign.
Right.
So you might be trying to say candy and I don't know what you're saying, but when I can see the sign, I can clearly shape the correct word.
Right, you're pairing it with
Yes.
the correct word. Okay.
Absolutely.
That is super great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that today.
Yeah.
I wanted to let you guys know that next Monday we will be in Tulsa, so we'll do another one of these fun little workshop-y tips. So thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye.
Oh my God.